Well, can you throw that at me now? I've appointed my lineage holder. Ready? I wanted to announce it before the meeting.
Before he leaves.
All right,
We're
here we go.
left.
Here we go. It's coming.
Oh, is that from Comic-Con?
It's got we're gonna put a voice program in it.
Wow.
That's awesome.
You can have a little temple in your own house with a small little chair. Sit it down. Yeah.
A real doppel.
Ah,
Make up a little shrine.
You could have
Play an old video and you'll have a little experience.
you could have the pull string with your 3 statements.
I'm gonna have, yes, exactly. Being ourselves reality, never left, and I need do nothing.
You can't get out of self, bro.
I would buy.
Self can't get out of self.
great.
Nice. Eh? Whoa, wow, what
That
happened?
is so nice.
See, I'm actually in the asylum with this thing.
Yeah.
It's not, it looks like a t-shirt, but there's the little
Oh, yeah.
jacket thing. Wow.
The medical flaps.
Yes. So this is, they asked me to do a sitting for the non-duality wax museum. Now, other people more popular had 6 feet models. I got 8 inches. I'm in one of the, I'm right near the custodian closet in the wax museum.
That is cool. Who made that? That
The
is so
dog shit
cool.
awareness wing of the
Does
non.
he have dog shit on his foot or?
Yes, yeah.
Looks like an action figure to me.
It is an action.
Exactly.
Yes. But I hold it. I just blew the spirit in him. So I'm telling you, when I pass away, this is it.
Here he is.
They'll be about 21.99. Yeah, yeah.
Can we get him ahead of time?
You can order one before, yes. They won't be sent until I pass away.
Okay. Well,
I can't brook 2 masters at the same time. That's right.
will there be a bargain rate if we order ahead of time?
Yeah.
A
Well,
pre-need order, they call it. Pre-need.
There'll be people answering the phone, calls ZBS. Wow, he has a little Zen bitch slap shirt there, right there. It's
So
cool.
cute.
Is it?
It's
I
so
have,
Amazing.
I have about 4 action figure. Someone got them. And I had the original action figure. Where is that? Oh, let me get the original action figure. Oh, no, the original one is way before that. I think I have it in the room. Hold on.
That's the OG series.
Right. There's a pot smoker out there. I heard you. Oh, the OG. Oh, the OG. The OG series.
Not OG Kush. I said OG series.
Not OG Kush, OG series, original gangster. Thank you.
Different. You can't get different.
Anticipation.
Hey, man, I was thinking about it. It sure helps sometimes, right? Oh, good.
Here we go. Come on, have a little fun. All right, everyone,
We're gonna break the hell off.
take a minute and concentrate.
Okay.
Ready?
All right, your noise canceling. Cancel it out.
Oh, too bad. Here it is. Here's the original action figure.
Oh, wow. That's far out.
This is the original one. Yeah. I'm holding the big book of AA. And I got shit on my shoes.
Awesome.
The dog shit awareness. See, if you look like they're brown. There you go.
Was there something on the box?
That's the original.
awesome.
Yeah. All right, well, forget about that. Get down to business.
Oh, that's it now? Okay.
Let's get down to business.
Yeah, that's it.
I can do. All right, well, listen, anyone, I'm sure if they're new, forget about it, yeah?
I think, yeah, I
That's
don't know.
all right. This is how we cull the herd. Cull the herd, yeah. Yeah, go to someone else, please. Please, go to someone else. They have a lot for you to do, yeah. Yeah, all right, so hey, Kathleen, I think you're leading the, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any person new here? No one's new here, no, outside here.
I think Giuliani.
Yes,
Sure.
hello.
How do you
Hello.
say his name? You gotta help me.
Guillaume. Guillaume is my name.
Oh, Giuliani, wow, I like that do you have, the hairdo. It's pretty
Ah,
good.
thank you. Lots of
Yeah,
work.
I tried that myself.
Welcome.
Actually, I'm one of the 10-year comets because I had a call with you for I think in 2016 back in the day.
Oh, you
And
did?
yes, I was in San Francisco for vacation and so on, and I wanted to have a call because I was really involved in the spirituality and everything, and I quite remember that call when I was just having a discussion with you, and I was saying, yeah, sometimes I feel free, sometimes I don't feel free, and so on. And at some point you say, but it's not you though. And it took me years to understand that.
There you go. Well, yeah, fantastic. Great, well, nice to see you.
Nice to see
Message
you.
hasn't changed.
Mm,
It hasn't changed at all. No, I hit a certain high point and it's hopefully stabilized ever since. Really, was really ready to explore the minutiae of the void and the emptiness. Something just came inside and said, nope, just stay on this point, because if you don't see this point we're sharing, you're going to be looking from it. Yeah. And what does that mean? That means your starting point, without you knowing it, will be a manufactured starting point. It won't be like you may become a self, you're gonna already be one. Yep. So basically the game is slanted completely. So when you're already sensing you are something, in this myopic view, the only thing to do is try to get out of that something. And that is the biggest in here. Yeah.
yeah.
The biggest in is trying to get out of what you're not in. That's the biggest in. Yeah. There's tons of money, there's tons of processes and practices. Constantly people, when they say they're trying to get out of self, it can also be said as I'm trying to get into the moment, and there's all these things. But basically, they're all predicated on believing something that isn't true, which is that you can be out of the moment and you are not what you're looking for. Yeah. Now, non-duality just says you are what you're looking for. It's that simple. It's not, there's no, well, you could be in a certain day and maybe another day you're not what you're looking for. It's pretty much of an absolute statement. You are what you're looking for. All right. Being ourselves reality doesn't hold the possibility that you were once reality and now you're not, or that you're going to be reality, but now you're not. It completely states being ourselves reality. There's no wiggle room out of that. If we are reality, every moment that we take ourselves to be something else, we're still reality. Yeah. So if you lost interest in that which is very interested in getting into the moment, or the idea that it's actually out of a moment and getting out of self because it actually believes it's in something called self, if you can see that and greet it with not me, then there's going to be a loss of interest in it. And the loss of interest is really what changes the whole emphasis of what's going on. Yeah. On one broad level, you could see most people's emphasis in life is on a noun, nouns. Yes. nouns were things, and then there's doing of things, and we can maybe change what we're doing, but we can't seem to change being a noun. Yeah. We want to change the noun, but the noun stays the same. And then everything, all the verbing that goes, it's almost impossible to see this place as not verbing. Yeah, so it doesn't do that. What it does says there's a noun that's doing the verbing, or the noun that's being done to by the verbing. So it can't erase the fact, it just accommodates, it takes it, it uses it. It uses the fact that there's verbing to imply there's a noun that's doing it, or should have been doing it, or is being done to by it. Yeah. So most people, the emphasis, the manufactured point is a noun view of a verbing event. Yeah, that's what it is. Verbing event. If you're not, if there's doing, there must be a doer. Yeah. So if there's a verb, there must be a noun. Where did that come from? Come from the head. You weren't living like that. Even in this dreaming of an action figure, when you were a baby, you were verbing constantly. There was no noun to be found, so to speak, because it hadn't been made up yet. But then, and if it's so funny how when it makes itself up, then you don't have any memory of all the verbal, of being all verb. Do you? No, everyone, maybe the earliest memory is 3.5 years or something like that. And maybe there's a vague whack you had when you were 1. But basically, that whole period has been completely, the history has been completely revised. Yeah. And you got to go, your information relies on faulty information. Yeah. Like I got to listen. Oh, Mom, where was I born? Amityville, Long Island. Yeah. What time? 2/5. You know what I mean? You would think you would know your arrival. Yeah. And where did you arrive? Amityville. I mean, really. And yet for a couple of years, nothing hell's going on. You're running into rooms, you're never thinking about running into rooms, and then one day you run in a room and you think about it. There's thought about it. And then from that day on, you're accompanied by thought. So now the living of life is now accompanied by an interpretation of life, which is fine and dandy unless the interpretation of life grows at the expense of the living of life. Yeah. And I would say most people are living under the interpretation of life. And in that interpretation, you can interpret next week to be more important than now. And you can interpret or believe that anything can happen next week. And the faith in next week overrides the moment. So the interpretation is now first, and then the living is second. And then we're looking on from this backward view, and then we have all these things called spiritual paths, which very few of them are actually acknowledging the manufactured point. They're trying to start from that point, yeah, and maybe get out of it later. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. Because that point will claim spiritual practice just as easily as, doing the dishes. Yeah, it is. It's just going to, because it's a mechanical activity. So we're all looking backwards in a way, and we're driving by the rear view mirror in a sense. As the Course in Miracles says, if you're interested in that, read the first 6 steps, the first 3 lessons in the Course in Miracles. You don't even have to get the book. First 6 lessons describe a whole lot of what's happening in this dreaming, and then it's comprised with, and it's all because of the second lesson, the 7th lesson, which I don't know. Let me see, if you don't mind. The 7th. So here, I'll read it. It won't bother anyone, I don't think. Let's see. They should have them all in one row, I think. Well, the first lesson, I don't remember. The second lesson was profound, which is you and I give everything all the meaning it has. Why was that profound for me? Because when I sat there in my room and it'd say, just look around your room. And then when you see, just say, hey, I'm giving everything all the meaning it has. And then I would see absolutely nothing. And then it would be a desk in about a half a second of time. And it worked every time. It was mind-boggling. I had no idea what the fucking thing was. Suddenly bench. Yeah. So the add-on came, and then that which I didn't know was known by the interpretation. What? So, and it says a very comprehensive statement, you and I are giving everything all the meaning it has. Yeah. So everything and all are pretty absolute in one sentence. If you hear everything and all, there's basically no back doors out of that sentence. Everything and all. So I'm giving everything and all the meaning it has. What? That's insane. Yeah, that's insane. Now, where did that meaning given start? Here. You've given this the meaning of being the long-lasting, independent, separate entity. Yeah. And then that meaning coming through that gives meaning to everything else. So the hierarchy of this world is not no thing, it's thing and what the fuck is no thing. Really, isn't it? I mean, look at war. Let's say war. People would get shell-shocked. They would be called cowards because their arms weren't bleeding, their, chest wasn't ripped apart, their fucking brain was fucked up. Yeah. No thingness, fuck you, get back in the, fight. And it took 30, 50 years to finally give a little, credence to the value of no thing, stuff you can't see. And these people are totally fucked and they're still called cowards and shit like that. Yes? You see? So the thingness is emphasized. When you're just used to it, you're not seeing anything clearly. It's all emphasized. So when you look, let's say if you're in a park, it's easy to see this, and you're looking at 20 kids play, and 2 of those kids are yours, the emphasis are going to be those 2 kids. Yeah. You'll see 20 kids, but you're going to be following the 2 kids because they're your kids. Yeah. But the emphasis will always go not in a panoramic way, but in a myopic way. Yeah. A myopic way. Like you go into a schoolroom and there's a giant black chalkboard that may fill one wall. You see it. You go in the next day, someone put one dot of chalkboard, it goes right to the chalkboard dot, the chalk dot. You completely forget the whole black voidness and you emphasize the little chalk mark on it. You don't do that. That's the programming. You don't do it. You are outdrawn. You are not the gunslinger. Yeah. You've already been shot. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the emphasis, we're walking around thinking we have choice, but preference and emphasis is moving us everywhere. Yeah. Where did you pick up the preferences? Where did you buy them? Did you give birth to them? Do you believe you own them, but they're not yours. Yeah. But you live as if they're yours, and you'll die for an opinion if it's your opinion. So this activity is going on unabated, like that thing in the Matrix where, if you ever seen the Matrix movies, they got worse as they went, but the first one was pretty good. And then there was Neo, who was the savior, yeah? And he was pretty cool looking savior with the Ray-Bans and the long leather jacket, nice hairdo. And then one of his little lessons, he runs into a manifestation of the programming, the mainframe called the architect. And he comes into a room, and the room has all these little TVs all around on all the on the 2 walls he's seeing, and they're all pictures of him as an action figure, punching Agent Smith, doing all the shit, but never the Ray-Ban, perfect hair, perfect, nice leather jacket, no blood on it, nothing. And he was savoring, yeah, he was the savior, yeah. And the guy goes, "Oh, Neo, nice to meet you." And then he goes, "Oh yes, like I'm the chosen one." He says, "Oh yeah, you're the 7th savior we've had in this programming." The first one was a little disturbing, but we completely morphed it into this, and now you're the number 7, which is, and you're completely a part of the Matrix. You're not a rebellion from the rebellion from the Matrix is part of the Matrix. The same thing here, yeah. That which you take to be cannot get out of here. that which is only appearing in a certain system can't transcend the system. It can't get out. It doesn't have anything other than here. Yeah. So if it has a story, I'm going to catapult myself. It has no fucking interest in catapulting itself. It just wants to get a reflection of itself trying to catapult itself. Yeah. So there's a cherishing of self by this head, this part of head that's gone wild, like, you know, the HAL on 2001. It's just taken over the mission. Yeah. It just has. And we listen to it religiously because there's a cherishing of this seeming uniqueness. Even though we may not like certain traits that we have when we see them in others, but when we see them in ours, they're sort of cute, maybe. You know what I mean? Or you can dress like a bum, but you think you're so special, you look cool, but you look like a bum to most other people. But you saw everyone else trying to do the same thing. Bum, 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 bum. Me, not bum. It's just, I mean, it's a blindness, and it's not naturally produced. It's mechanically manufactured. Yeah. And so this is what I feel humbly, because I was introduced to a few things in spirituality, not many. The first thing I was introduced to was from India, meditation. And I had a profound belief in meditation. I thought that's the thing. I remember I had been getting loaded and doing LSD and stuff, and I was living up in New Hampshire. And one night I was looking at the stars and I said, it's an inside job. Me taking all this shit isn't working. I think I got to look inside. And so I figured meditation was the way to look inside. So it made sense. My best friend had gotten initiated. So I went the next day to the Electric Circus in New York. They had it there. And I got initiated and I started to meditate. Really liked meditation. It helped, you know, and it gave me purpose because I was a fuck up, you know. And so I was trying to appease the God of the head, because it wasn't giving me a break unless I did something. So I had to turn into being good, or I wasn't going to get shit. So I said, okay, good. Forget all this stuff. I want to know God. Sufficient enough to stop me from drinking and using for 4 years. Pretty amazing. And also I was on probation and a huge threat of prison. That may have helped. But 2024, I was searching for God and I was fucking serious. Yeah, and which is insane. I'd have this lovely girlfriend and she was trying to be horizontal with me. I said, no, woman, I'm in my practice and whatever. It's insane. I was saying no to life, bringing these beautiful packages. It's not a spiritual whatever. It's insane. Insane. And then this guy, who I don't want to go all into it, but so I did these other things. I did Buddhism a little bit, the Hinayana at first, and then the Mahayana style. And Tibetan, I liked the Dzogchen. And I did a little of that. And then I was introduced to other things. But the one thing that was very rarely touched upon was the idea of me and where I was starting from, and how what you were presenting, how I see that from this self-centered view. Because no one was really explaining that to me. And yet I was building up evidence in there. I didn't know the file it was in, but evidence was building. And then I heard non-duality. And then non-duality, that room in the spiritual museum I had that I always just went by, I stopped in. And then this idea of that belief that I had left, you know, I had separated from the Godhead and I was never going to be able to get back, was totally put to rest by I've never left, which that was a novel fucking idea. Seriously, I was totally constantly leaving and seemingly returning. I never came upon the idea on having never left, ever. Yeah. And then suddenly I heard some more, like the seeker is the sought. Wow. Because most of my life, I was the seeker and there were different sorts. Yeah. So a lot of my life could have been put under a category called seeker sorts, because different things I wanted and I sought for them. My most avid seeking was drug addiction. And I would compare my drug addiction to any spiritual devotion. Yeah. I gave up everything. I worship it. It treated me terribly. Seriously, if you ever did a lot of cocaine, most of the time you're completely flipped out. Yeah, you get your moments of ecstasy, but you pay a lot of fucking mental anxiety and a lot of shit. And yet you're willing to keep doing it, seemed like, for years. So all of these things that I tried, there was still that fundamental me. Yeah. Some of them said that me's got to be changed. Some of them me's got to be purified. Other cases with drugs, it had to be jailed. Yeah. So somehow, but the me was always in it. Yeah. And then non-duality says, there's not a you. What? Yeah. And where am I going to go from here? Fantastic. Exactly. Because when you stop going from here, you maybe ask what here is. Maybe you finally look, instead of looking from this, maybe you look at this. I didn't believe you could ever look at this because I thought I was looking from this. And it wasn't true, literally. Yeah. And then once the non-duality got its foot in the door, the shit just cascaded. Stuff was said, and it would just fucking, I would like giant, you know how an iceberg calves off of like the Arctic, just falls off. There wasn't any explosion or anything, just a giant chunk would fall off and just go, what? I thought that was me, another chunk, yeah. And I was seemingly losing me to the larger ocean. But and one of the biggest ones was, whatever can be perceived cannot be that which is perceiving. Wow. Yeah. Whatever can be perceived, which is all of us right now as a seeming thing. Yeah. So let's all agree with that. You are perceiving this. Yeah. And I am perceiving that. And he's saying, this which you're perceiving cannot be that which is perceiving, and this, what I'm perceiving, cannot be that which is perceiving. Even though the event of perceiving is occurring, I have it misidentified, so to speak. I believe it's me that's perceiving you, but that he's basically saying very quickly, that's not true. Great master, I feel, Huang Po. But this was unbelievable. Unbelievable. I sat with that, and it was like getting punched by Mike Tyson. Just cool. And then when I try to say something cool, and then cool, there was no way out. I was like in the corner, sort of getting pummeled, and it was great, man. It was fucking great because all the air came out of it. It did. Yeah. And this is why I remember these things, because of the effect they've had. I don't read over that statement. May have even changed it. But I remember it as being, whatever can be perceived cannot be that which is perceiving, which is an incredible, you know, all the advice you've ever had in your life. And then you have, oh, my grandfather gave me some, this is an incredible bit of advice. I mean, primo advice level. Yeah. Because you can see it right now. And then when you hear it and you go to your head, the whole basis of the head we're listening to all day is that which can be perceived is what's perceiving. It's the exact different basis than what this dude said. Completely. You can't, there's no melding it. There's no, all right, I'm going to compromise and I'm going to, no, there's no compromise. The statement is, whatever can be perceived cannot be that which is perceiving. Now the head, go in there, talks as if that which can be perceived is what's perceiving. So if that's not true, all the other shit that's coming down through this propaganda station probably has this grain of not truth to it. Yes, don't you see? You don't have to go through every syllable or every cell of the failed system. All you got to get is it's a failed system. That's all, whatever it takes. Could take a second, could take whatever. But when it finally dawns on us, it's a failed system, you're going to look at it not as a friend or a wishful amigo. So you're going to see it in a different light. You're going to see the activity as not your activity. And it opens up a possibility that isn't available when it's seen as your activity, which is I can be free from it. Because you can't be free from your activity. If you try to sort of be free from your activity, that's more of your activity. This is a statement that I can be free from this activity because it's not me. Yeah. And therefore, and even farther than that, this is what we're hoping to put out here, because I didn't hear it that much earlier on, is that the feeling of being that is mechanical. And we're not having that feeling. The feeling projects the idea that there's someone having the feeling, but it's just a sense. It's manufactured. Like ice cream. Sometimes they can manufacture this sense of cinnamon, but it's not natural cinnamon. Yeah, you can eat something that has a flavor of a strawberry, but it's not a strawberry. So they know how to fool you by giving you a sense of a strawberry, and then you think you had a strawberry ice cream, but if you read the ingredients, there's no strawberry in it. They just fooled you. Yeah, you don't think you're not being fooled on a higher level than that. So we have a sense of individuality. Yeah, and we believe that is natural because we're an individual. So an individual would put out a sense of individuality, just like someone who stinks puts out BO, let's say. Yeah. But we don't see, it's the sense of individuality that's presented. And then there's an implying in that there's an individual, and we're living based on that implying. The head is anyway, we're not. We're just here, completely here under this little time-space regime, this little mental tyranny, but we're here and we're never going to be touched by any of it. Yeah. It doesn't change anything. Yeah. It's all about change because it doesn't change anything. You can have zillions of changes and none of them are going to change the unchangeable. So it's not more is going to convince you that this much change can change the unchangeable. No, you get to a stubborn convincing that it's always been this way. No matter how it's how it's being interpreted, how I'm feeling, it's overridden by that momentary second where it was shown to me, it's always been this way. Meaning, no matter what you think, no matter what you feel, no matter what you value, no matter what you've remembered, it hasn't changed a damn thing. Now, the head would love to produce that effect, but it needs thousands of advertising hours to trying to convince you it's always going to be like you're going to be depressed forever and shit. Yeah. Usually most people will come out of that trance. This doesn't take any advertising. It was just revelation. It's always going to be this way. It's always been this way. So all of my differences and distinctions and shit were neutered for that second, completely null and voided. Yeah. And it's the same thing like the emperor with no clothes. After you recognize the emperor has no clothes, you're going to see it wearing a lot of clothes. But you're not going to be fooled by the clothes because you know the emperor has no clothes. Yeah. To depend that I know the emperor has no clothes because I saw it naked. Well, you're probably going to be under a fucking delusion when you see it clothed. That peak experience of seeing the emperor with no clothes isn't the basis of a stable understanding. The non-duality will bring you to stable understanding. It doesn't have any clothes, no matter how much clothes it wears. Yes, that's a different understanding than waiting for another experience to show you it doesn't have any clothes while you're living as if it does all the time in between. No. If you want to see an understanding galvanized is when the understanding gets reinforced by the vision. That vision reinforces the understanding. Yeah, when you see it, yeah, it allows it, that seeing of it can extend in time by an understanding. Yeah, it doesn't have, you don't have to run and reach for seeing it all the time. You see it, and then it infuses an understanding with that light. Yeah, and now it may not be rockets going off and fucking, I'm going from one epiphany to the other. I've got another one today after the meeting and on, and got to get dressed in a more loose clothing because I'm not going to be doing anything for a few hours. Ah, yeah. That's great, but that may not be on the menu for the rest of your life. What may be on the menu for the rest of your life is a traveling lighter through what life has in store for the action figure. Yeah. And after you get your head out of all these starry, oh, I'm going to be on the 11th dimension and everyone's going to still see me, even though I'm not in a body, but they'll know it was Paul. And no, it may get quite ordinary. Yes. You go in 7-Eleven, no one lets you go ahead. There's your eyes are so sparkling. No, it's just fucking getting gas and you're getting gas. Wait in line. Yeah. Yeah. But there's something. It makes the traffic easier to live through when you see that which is before the traffic. And when you see the traffic from that which is before the traffic, you can put up with a lot more shit than you used to be able to put up with and see a different emphasis on it. Yeah. I mean, I wanted to get out of here most of my adult life. I had an urge since I was quite young. For some reason, the here I thought I was in, I wanted to get out. I had no idea that was a manufactured here by the head. I thought it was really here, and it sucks. I want to get out, yeah. And I do almost anything to get a temporary relief from that. And I attracted tons of fucking consequences. Yeah, but now, I don't know how many years ago it did, I realized, and it broke to the head, it's never getting out of here. Yeah. Even though I knew it would come to the satsangs with me thinking he was going to get something. And finally it dawned on it, it's not getting shit. I think it happened in the city at the dry dock years and years ago. I'm not getting fucking anything out of this. And yet it kept going. Oh. Because the story would be, once I see I'm not getting anything, I'm going to stop doing it. You're not the doer of shit. You're not. And it's not the doer of shit. It's the narration of appearing to be the doer of shit. That's as close as it can get to being the doing of shit. It's the narration of it. There's no life in the narration. The Course is always talking about this thing that we've made to be ourselves. I don't believe that. I believe the head has made it to be ourselves. Cannot communicate to us. It just talks to us. Broadcasts. It doesn't communicate. It can't. It can't reach us because it doesn't see us. It sees a thing. It sees a thing. It doesn't have the eyes to see or the ears to hear spirit. It doesn't. So you trying to cram another book into it or do this or hold another yoga posture longer, whatever, far, great. It's going to fail and you're going to realize you're not that. Doesn't mean you're not going to take care of it. I know I'm not my Toyota, but I take care of the Toyota. Probably better than if it was me. Because I have some fucking hidden hatred for me. I'd probably ruin the Toyota in this life. I've met people like that. They want to be so right. And what they want to be right about is how wrong they are. So they get introduced to sobriety and the head just can't stand it. And it goes back out and it gets right about being how wrong it is. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. It could leave, they pass away, a lot of them. The head has, yeah. So, that wasn't the plan for today. I don't know. I was gonna transfer Lineage to the little thing. Yeah. I'm waiting for the day. I sleep with the dolls right next to me. So as soon as I get the message, blow it right in there. There'll be a little message. Tommy, you may find it. Yeah. It's in my left plastic shoe. Open it, you'll see. And look at the bottom of the shoe. They're brown from the dog shit. All right. Thank you, Kathleen. Hey, thank everyone for putting up with me. Without this, I'd probably be in an asylum. Seriously. Because one day I would let it slip out, maybe at fucking Whole Foods or something. The police would be called. Of course, I would resist. And then would put me 3 days away. Some psychiatrist, an unhealed healer, would say, this guy's totally insane. And there I go. Ship me back to New York, and I spend the rest of my life in Bellevue. I would just be hoping for Jello after the talks. All right.
Well, we're really happy that you're here, Paul, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you being here.
It's vice versa.
And does anybody have anything they want to say to Paul? Comment, question?
I like to hear the word wonderful in it, and
Wonderful, how wonderful he is.
indebted, eternally indebted.
Much you love the action figure.
Put you in my will.
How much appreciate
I
the
will.
message.
It was in a couple of people's wills. I never heard anything about it.
Feel free to send the action figures some money.
Yeah, they had I bought you a house in Bali, bro. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that would be cool. All right, anyone? Any questions? Or I'm going to go back to the simple thing to remind some of the people I haven't seen in a while, which is we all agree that in this movement we're in, there's something we call time that seems to be very influential. Yes? We don't see it. Like when you don't see time when you look at the clock, it's just it's a symbol of it, but we don't see time. All right. And in time, there are processes. Yeah. Yes. So if there's and the process that won't be able to be processed would probably be the first process. Yeah. Because it's the first process that I've noticed in time, as far as I can notice time. And that's the mental process of claiming whatever the conscious contact brings it into contact with. Yeah. So we are, let's say, consciousness in contact, and we bring the head into contact with things, and then the head claims it. And it has a confirmation bias, and it fits its interpretation to fit its already confirmed narrative that you're a you, yes? And this is a world of nouns that are doing things you may not like, verbs, yeah? All right. Now, when we're confronted with the, let's say, the irritability, restlessness, discontent, or maybe we get ideas that things could be different or better, or maybe I have a different calling, another calling other than following this, my hometown, teams and stuff like that. Maybe there's an itch that I don't see able to scratch here. Yeah. And all of these little whisperings that try to grab our attention, that something's up, so to speak. Yeah. All right. And then I move to do something. I want to find my true self, or I want to do something. And that's going to be a process in time. Yeah. Because the first process isn't recognized in time. It seems to be where time starts. And the first process is the head has already claimed the I am of existence to be you. Yeah. And all the attempts to get out of you, there's going to be the you doing those attempts. And therefore, the you doing the attempts to get out of you is actually reinforcing the you. And Ramana, I believe, says it in a beautiful way. He says, there's a presupposing of a non-existent thing to being an existent thing. And then in that, if that's the case, and then it wants to get salvation for the existent thing, which it's calling Paul. So Paul wants the salvation. Yes, obviously. And Paul is seen as an existent thing, yet all the while it's a non-existent thing. All right. If this is the case, and he says this pretty much is, so this is one of the first movements in time, obviously. Wasn't happening when we were a baby, we weren't in time. There was no time going on. Yeah. So now we've entered time, and this process is like the quickest process. And then it says your spiritual practices based on this first process being in place, are reinforcing the non-existent thing, how can they destroy it? Do you see it? How it happens? This is not saying all spiritual practices are reinforcing the non-existent thing, but all spiritual practices can be claimed and be used to reinforce the non-existent thing. That's what we're saying here. We're not saying anything right or wrong about spiritual practice. We're saying if this process is going on without you knowing it, you're going to be looking from it. You're not going to be aware of it. You're going to be aware of everything from it. So all you're getting super aware will reinforce the unawareness that you're not that which is getting super aware. You see it? I saw it, and this changed everything. And this is what we do on these days, is try to put out that same thing with the hope that it will trigger the same effect. Yes, so here's this process that I'm somebody before I don't want to be a somebody. And so every time I don't want to be a somebody, I'm doing it as a somebody. Yeah, and when I try to get out of being a somebody, I'm trying to get out of being a somebody as a somebody. You see? So all the movements I would call an escape are not an escape here. They're reinforcing the prison without us knowing it. We didn't have the understanding. And these people came from a long time ago, and most recently, Ramana and these people who try to put this out. So basically saying, being ourselves reality, the greatest mystery is reality wanting to attain reality. Yeah. Incredible statement, really. So here's this process. Without us knowing it, we have been put in a position into a starting point, manufactured, and everything we're looking from is seen from there. And the blindness isn't what we're looking at; it's where we're looking at it from. That's the blindness. The blindness is here. Yeah. Yes, and then things can be given meanings to support that narrative or to disguise the narrative, but this is what goes on, I humbly believe. So if that's the case, then whatever process I try to use to get out of that has the infection of that first process. So the someone is going to try to get out of the someone as a someone. And I humbly believe this is the infection that travels with the cure. Yeah, what we call a cure here, to me, carries the infection with it. And that's why I fuck around with spirituality and stuff, because in a lot of, I have a strong observation that the infection is carried with the presentation of the cure. And I'm outmatched completely. Yeah. The greatest effort I ever put was drug addiction. And I went pretty damn far down that hole. And so I feel confident I could compare it with other things based on this same misunderstanding. Let's say spiritual devotion could be seen almost like a spiritual addiction in a way. Yeah, because if that which you're devoted to is reinforcing the one who's devoted, then it's doing what I'm saying that the head will do with it. And I'm saying it's not the case, but it can be the case. And it's definitely going to be the case if you're looking from it. If you see it, it neuters the ability to do it. It needs your consent without you knowing it. And that's through ignorance, literally. With ignorance. By you being ignorant of this movement, all the other movements that are done with sincerity and earnestness and intention and all this have this infection in them. Yeah, and the infection is going to override the cure because the infection started first before the cure. Yeah, so the cures here are defeated by the infection and they're used to carry the infection. Just like we have it in recovery. It's one of the most profound things in recovery, and it's not one of the steps. It's a statement born out of a lot of experience and observation, which was, you got to quit playing God. It doesn't work. Yeah. So when I heard that at first, coming from what I'm looking from, not what I'm seeing, but I'm looking from, I believe that was another order that I was going to have to do. I'd have to quit playing God, and I didn't think I was going to be too successful. Yes. Because that what seemed to be playing God wasn't listening to all of my beseeching it to stop playing God. So then over time, what I saw was different. I saw I'm not that which is playing God. Incredible difference. Made all the difference in the worlds, in both worlds, really. I'm not that which is playing God. And how does quitting playing God look? Is losing interest in that which is playing God. That's how quitting playing God looks to me. Because if I'm in the act of playing God without knowing it, and then I try to quit playing God, that's playing God ad infinitum, yes? How can it be broken? If I'm playing God and another thing comes up, and which is you got to stop playing God, and I, as playing God, stop playing God, that's playing God forever. I just don't see. This is why I lost. Like, I mean, some people, I knew some spiritual heavyweights, and they sat 260 something 10-day retreats of Goenkers or something. And before I would have been really fucking impressed. I don't give a shit. Because if you're looking from this, you can do 800 retreats. I just don't think more is going to change it. I don't, humbly. Now, does it happen always? No, because if you can see it, it won't go all the way. It just won't, because you are it. You are reality. And when reality gets a sense of this reality as not being as real as it was seeming to be, it's going to look at right where the cause or seeming cause of that is, not out here, but here. Yeah. And maybe where I start was manufactured. Maybe there's a used space called before that I don't even have to step back in. I never left. I've just been assuming this. See, if your dreaming at night continued, it would be as real as it was when it was happening. Yeah. Yeah. In this daydreaming, the dreaming will continue like mirage, but it won't be as real because you've woken up. Yeah. Not as a you. You've woken up to the idea of the you. Yeah. The idea of the you waking up is reinforcing an insane idea that you're not awake. Yeah. In fact, all we are is awakeness. It's what we're awake to is the emphasis. Yeah.
So in the night dreaming, the watching of that,
In the night dream, the one who's aware of the night dreaming. Well, it's awareness at first, because obviously in a lot of dreaming at night, you're never really pictured. It's just a feeling of you. You don't see you. You see others, right? You ever see a movie when there's like a killer and they're going to make it interesting and you see everything from the killer's view? You never see the killer, but you see everything from its view. Yeah, so here we are in the dreaming, there's an awareness of what's going on. When there's a waking up, then the dream is made into something by the head, yes? But the awareness is what's allowing the dream to be noticed. Yeah. So that's the observing of it. There's no observer of it. What? Well, there is a distinction. They call it, there's the awake dream. Ramana would say this is called the awake dreaming, and then there's the night dream.
but it's the same awareness.
Well, yes, of course. Yeah. So, all right. I rest my case with this. Maybe you can, something that comes later, maybe can change what's before. I just don't see it. Not in time. I just don't see it happening that way. Or it hasn't happened. Yeah. How are you going to get out of if you are, if you're not the existent thing, but you're living as if you are the existent thing? How are you going to get out of that existent thing other than as the existent thing? Yeah, how are you gonna stop playing God? Unless you see you're not that which is playing God. This is for me was when I saw I wasn't this thing we call self, small s in recovery. When I saw it was foreign to me, a possibility showed up that I could be free from it. And that showing it up came along with a scan of when that possibility wasn't available. Because all I looked at freedom was as self. I wanted to be free as Paul. Yeah. And this was the bondage. Once I saw Paul was foreign to me, the real freedom became obvious. It's from Paul. It's not as Paul. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty good. And it's inherently available because there isn't a Paul. So you don't even have to kill anything. Really, you just get over it. And then it's the requirements that it had about you fulfilling something fall and everything falls. It's like the blow up doll doesn't have an air supply. We're blowing it up. If you leave it alone, it's a shrinking naturally. Like I have a lot of tires on my bikes. I haven't ridden them in a couple weeks and they're down. They have a slow leak. If I don't pump the air in, they show itself. The same thing. When all your interest and attention isn't going there, you see the fucking balloon doll. Yeah. It's just shrinking because it can't substantiate itself. It can say tons of shit, but we give it the substantiality. Yeah. It doesn't have any other access to life but ours. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, anyone?
I have maybe a simple, basic, I don't know. Maybe this is
A simple, basic, I don't know. I love those.
yeah, I have this.
Thousands of those simple, basic, I don't knows. That's
I'm
good.
just, I don't know. And I wonder if you could just explain simply why it's not two as opposed to one. Is that because that one makes something a thing?
No, it's that what would approach the one is the two. You don't know that you're made of two. You're the observed and the observing. Yeah.
Huh?
What's your head going over right now? The observed Kathleen. What do you call the head that's going of the observed Kathleen? Kathleen the observant. Yeah. So there's Kathleen observing another Kathleen. Yeah. And both of them are not you. So that's why we can't go directly to one, because we never left directly to one. And we're not getting it. So we're going to go directly to one through the negation of two. That's what you do. When you negate the two, the time and length of miles to get to where you already are is none. Yeah. So we don't have to get to the one. We've got to negate the two that has us having to get to the one. Yeah. One's not standing alone on its own. It's not working for most people. I've heard it. They would say, all there is consciousness. That doesn't fucking work. I remember I did these recovery things, and then these people I used to know, I met one of them in India. They wanted to bring a Course in Miracles group meeting. Yeah, they were from Wisconsin. They were going to bring. So I set it up, and all these people that knew me came, and they started the whole talk with, there is no world. It doesn't fucking work. Yeah, it doesn't work. You have tons of evidence, maybe not real evidence, but it seems real as hell to you that I'm in a floor. This is a seat. This is Maple Street. I'm going there. And I knew it. And then everyone left. And some of them I never saw before again. And I listened to it. I said, this is not the way to present something. There is no world. It doesn't work. You just say, you're in this world, but not of the world, like Jesus did. That works. Yeah. So you get the familiarity, and then there's a negation of that familiarity, because why? You're not in this world. You're not of this world. You're in it, seemingly. We'll give it that, but you're not of it. Yeah. beautiful. Now that to me is a good message. The way my friends tried it, it didn't work. And it's right, there is no world, but it's not getting, it didn't work. There was no transfer of, yeah, I sat there. I learned a lot actually, because then I would try to, they wanted me to do Course in Miracle things. It was just way too much. It's a lot of slogging in there because it's got a lot of wording. I think you can just get it, dog shit awareness, much more compressed, and here you go. Yeah, much easier to deliver. And you can repeat this. Who wants to repeat reading a book 400 pages again? All right, we're starting our 5th reading. You know, no, here you come here, get whacked. And this lady, Champagne, what's her name, was here. She sent me a connection, and I saw some of these talks we did 15 years ago. It just sounds like last week. Exactly. I haven't moved the dial at all. And that was what was told me. So I'm happy about that. I haven't moved from this point since I was told not to move from this point. Because if you don't see it, you're looking from its effects. That's what. If it gets a little time to get ahead of you, it gets ahead of you. So if it has you set up as this thing, and then all your dreams are going to become not a thing or a better thing or a greater thing, it's pretty much won the race already. Eh? Because everything you do to get out of it, you're doing it as it. Yeah. Seriously. If you read some non-duality, it's what it's saying. It's saying that the seeker is the sought is, here's a life, seeker, end, which would be seeking, sought. Yeah. Lots of soughts, one seeker. That should produce a curiosity. Yeah. All these soughts have failed me. Maybe that wasn't how it failed you. Maybe it was the seeker of all the soughts that failed you. But so, and then non-duality just takes that and goes, the seeker is the sought, just compresses it in a second, and there's no way in or out. It just completely closes the mind. Yeah. Seeker is the sought. How is it that going to start looking? The seeking is going to have a big drop. You're going to be in a pause, and maybe things are going to have to be redirected or regrouped, because that giant thrust of seeking is going to be diminished. And the sought isn't the apple of your eye, obviously, because it's actually now that which you were hoping the sought was going to bring you, you find the reluctance that you are the source of it. And then you have to see you're not that head. The head does not want to see you as something that's being. It wants you to be in the business of becoming or unbecoming. It wants to be becoming. It will sign up for a 50-year program to become something, and will have no interest in being that which it's interested in becoming in 50 years. I have no interest in being right now. Check it out. It's telling you, it's just, it cannot help itself. It's a mechanical thing. If you tell a machine is built to punch a hole in something, and you just wait long enough, it's going to punch a hole in something. You're going to see it. You sit there, and it's going to do it. So you'll see the head rush in, claim, and everything, and then hopefully you'll be able to meld that vision with an understanding we hope we're delivering here. So, because that understanding is going to extend in time. That vision that could have been very sudden and could seem to go very quickly, the understanding will extend it in time. Yeah, you'll have a working understanding of what you're not. Yeah, yeah. And infused with the light of the vision of the whacking, the awareness will infuse the wisdom of the understanding. It will give wisdom to that understanding. It will, and it will be applicable not when you're sitting in a retreat, but day-to-day shit. And you'll recognize the quickness of the head And this idea of that you're going to be mindful to get in front of that, no fucking way. Mindfulness runs into that wall. Yeah. Remember when Craig thought someone stole his truck at the meeting, and we were talking just about this, and then suddenly, and no one would fucking buy that truck. No, if you donated it, they wouldn't take it. But as soon as he forgot where he parked it, it was stolen. And he's calling us up, and we're going to have a posse and start looking, and he knows what areas to go to look for the truck. He had misplaced it. Yeah, no one wanted the fuck, but he could have been sitting in samadhi for 15 hours. And so just that thing came up, and he believed someone stole that truck. Do you ever see there was a movie, this is a great movie, a German movie, what was it called, Samadhi? You know it, definitely you would see it. And it's a Tibetan monk is going to be brought out of a cave he's been in for 2 years, 2 months, 2 weeks and 2 days or something. Yes. And so the young monks, he's like a rock star, and they're going to go pick up the rock star, bring him back to the temple. So they, it's all dirty. They roll the rock away, and he's sitting in thing, and they pick him up and they bring him home. And this one young monk has the privilege to sleep in the same room, and the young monk is sleeping there, and he looks, and the old monk's got a tent. He's got a big boner. He's having a wet dream. His first night out of the cave. It blows the young monk's whole fucking conceptual idea of shit. It was great. He had a big boner on the, the blanket, you could see. The super placid, peaceful monk was having a wet dream. So I thought it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. And then the poor young monk, all of his, just like a crystal cracked. What? Because of course he thought, oh, so much, 2 years, on and on. Yeah, whatever. It was a good movie. It was, because then they looked at, it was a trip, because they looked at what did the wife of Buddha thought when Buddha abandoned them and the kid. They never had taken that view, and they go off on it in this movie. It's pretty interesting. Like the wife of the Buddha was pretty fucked up that he left with the kid and shit. It was pretty interesting just to see, how we see things is not how we see things. It's manufactured. You compare, just put a rose pair of glasses, you'll see things completely different. Get like a dollar store, now $1.25 store. Put it on. I'm so cheap, I won't do it for I'm not paying that extra 25 cents. Put the thing on, you see everything differently. You don't think that's going on? Come on. It's been me seeing all this time. No way. No way. All right. That's it. Anyone else, Kathleen? Did that help you with that I don't know thing?
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
It always helps me.
Oh, great. Well,
Thanks,
Mary,
George.
Mary Champagne, I think, is trying to maybe say something to you.
oh yeah, champagne.
Come on in, Mary.
I was having trouble on muting here. Yeah, I think on Tuesday you were answering a question about, is the selfing constant, or is there like breaks in it?
Yeah, there's a lot of.
And I was wondering if it's helpful if we could notice those breaks more.
Well,
or
yeah.
is that just going to be the self-notice? What's going on? I don't know. But if you could talk about what they are and what they look like a little bit, maybe.
Well, they don't look like anything. The breaks. That's the nice part about it. Nothing's being
Quiet.
formed. It's just a pause of all the forming and reforming and stuff. Yeah. Oh, and the thing is, it's absent a lot of the day, but its narrative spans those moments and then we forget them. Yeah. So just like I noticed it in when I started to wake up in recovery, that my head would forget a miracle in 30 minutes. Yeah. And yet would remember a seeming slight for 30 months. And I didn't see that as phenomena. I saw it as a pattern. So the head is not, if something doesn't fit its, that confirmation bias thing, it's going to pretty much forget it or not direct any attention to it. So you have to honor it. You know, you've got to make a little bit of a, let's say, a statement. I used to call them like mobile temples. At that moment, you just remember, let's say you've been bitching for weeks about this concern and now it's been lifted. Let's be a little grateful for the lifting of the concern instead of moving right to the next concern. Sit there and just feel the joy of, man, I'm on easy street. Yeah. Yeah. So this action figure, because it was in these bad habits, needed to do a new habit. So like when I was in AA and things were happening, I would say, thank you, God, that was more than enough. Because usually I would just get, as soon as I got something, I wanted more. So I just it was like I was like a dog. I said, all right, thank you, God, that was more than enough. And then it because it was aligned a little more. It didn't have to be grafted and regrafted. It actually took hold. Yeah. And I had a different attitude of gratitude than of lack and vindictiveness for not having more. Yeah. And these things changed over time. And I saw in time how it extinguishes miracles quickly, and you have a weird feeling and it tells you it's the beginning of a lifelong depression. So it plays a lot of its instruments. Their volume is of time. Time makes the instrument, the sound of it. So you feel uncomfortable is much different than I'm just starting a lifelong depression, obviously. You're probably going to react much differently to the second than if I just feel a little weird. Yeah. Yeah. So notice what you're listening to. It's still broadcasting. Hopefully you're hearing it more than listening. Listening is not going to bring you a wisdom. Hearing it's going to bring you a wisdom. Listening to it is that little deal has been consummated already. You're in a sense bound to it. Yeah. When you hear it, you see the mechanicalness of it. It's not personal. And you'll get your own machine. There may be variations. It may some of its screws may be tighter in this one topic than other people's screws. I mean, it's the same action figure, but certain places that may be tighter than others. And then you notice. And then it goes to great value because it's the oomph when you say I'm not that. So you've got an understanding, almost like a weight, and you're like, I'm not that. That has a lot of weight. It does. I mean, no one's going to do it for you. I mean, we are the awareness. And so the awareness, like Jesus said, you know, for those who have eyes and ears to hear, eyes and eyes to see, obviously the eyes and the ears aren't just the seeing and hearing. Yeah. Yeah. We need an understanding to be like a companion piece to the seeing. So now when we're seeing, and then we would just take for granted it was about us and this or that, we're now seeing it in a new way. I'm not that. And because it's true, and these are imaginary bridges, doesn't take much because it's actually true. You're not that. It's not like you're trying to trick yourself. It's actually you fell upon the winning number. So when you bet on it, you keep winning. And it's a surprise because most of your numbers you used to bet on weren't the winning number. Voila, you've hit the winning number or the last answer. Yeah, and then non-duality will be the last answer. Hopefully it'll accompany you to the last moment here. Yeah, yeah. So whatever process is trying to reveal itself to you, you'll see it before. Yeah, maybe you can die peacefully. Yeah, yeah, why not? Shit. Can you imagine if you've been a devotee of the head? And at the last minute, the head tells you you really blew it. That'd be a bad note to go out on, right? I'd rather have seen through it earlier than hoping I'm going to see through it at that moment. Yeah. If you haven't been paying much attention to it, when it says its big final proclamation, you'll be yawning or something. You'll be, give me more morphine. How can you shut this fucker up? No. Yeah. So. Yep. What is that? Oh yeah, Mary, about the the pause.
Oh, my God.
The pause just stops all the making and unmaking. So for a second, what you would for a second, in another second, that this second would be explained about, oh, I was really here. Yeah, from that other second. But it's an emptiness of a second or 5 seconds or whatever. We call it the pause. And there's tons of pauses all day. Yeah, most of them don't get noticed. And ones that get noticed get forgotten quickly. Yeah. Because the system we're relying on can't let that information in. Yes. Because it is anxious about its reality because it knows it's not true. So it needs to forget the miracles and remember the other shit. Yeah. So you start living a pause in a way because the pause sometimes comes up to the surface and stops. You know, you get a break from all this, but there's the underneath of the surface is a pause in and of itself. Yeah. So you can, that pause is available when shit's going on, but sometimes it will actually come up to the surface and put a stop to stuff. Yeah. But it's not a pause there. The pause is, yes, it just blossoms, let's say, on the surface because we seem to only be up there and it produces an effect. But if you follow it, it's always a pause. Yeah.
Always already.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what you get more familiar with through this understanding, where all the shenanigans of you cannot be here, or you can do this, or you can really fuck it up, get dispelled. You're just here as the default mechanism. You can't, like the great wisdom of no escape. There's nothing to escape from. Yeah, yeah. So,
So-
yes.
Physical contact, like consciousness contacting the body, is that, for me, that kind of feels like that could be a pause, like it's this sense of sensation and stuff tends to dominate and the mind gets quiet. I don't know if that's helpful.
Well, my brother would give me manufactured pauses when we punched me in the face.
Yeah.
That stopped everything. It was a pause.
Did it help?
Physical contact. It was his physical fist contacting my face. But I don't know what you're meaning by physical contact. You mean with another person? Obviously.
No, I mean, just the awareness contacting form, like, that where the body is vibrating and you feel all this sense.
Yes.
You get that energetically, like.
Yeah, yeah. But I see the pause as different than that.
Okay.
I think the pause is more of a no movement, nothing, all spaciousness. So I feel those energetic vibrations are music, let's say, of that space, but they're not the space itself. Yeah. I mean, those
Okay.
vibrations need to be played through an instrument. The body is an instrument, so to speak. Yeah. And then
Right.
sometimes light plays like a high vibrato that you're not used to, that scares the head's familiarity. Yeah. But the energetics is getting, let's say, rewired. But I think that has to be moving through the body to play something, most cases.
Remember the movie, The Way of the Warrior, where the teacher throws the guy off the bridge to give him a pause.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
He just throws him off the bridge. The guy, and then he gets mad at the teacher. And
Yeah.
the teacher says, "What were you thinking about?"
Yes.
On
Yes.
the way down. He
Yes,
says, "Nothing."
exactly. Yeah. I tried that. It didn't work. Golden Gate Bridge.
Boy, you threw yourself off a
The
bridge.
authorities didn't appreciate that event. No, yeah, so that's how I see it. A pause. Yeah.
I think a good way to see the pause is asking the question, what is here when there is no thinking? And then before thinking sets in, there's the pause. And the pause is just nothing.
Yes, yes.
So I think that's a cool
Yeah.
thing. No thing.
I don't like to give people anything, so I'm not gonna pass it on to the Zoom.
Take a pause.
That's right. I just like you sit with whatever is going on right now. Could that be a pause? Yes. You're on an 80-year pause. We are really. Can you imagine? This is the pause to the infinity. We're actually the living pause of the infinity. And it's gonna last for 80 years and then, yes, that's probably the case.
I got, and she's got menopause.
Menopause, you got. Hey, I'm starting to lose control of the meeting here, so we're gonna end.
It's,
They're getting rowdy.
Santa
Yeah.
Claus, that's, you get no gift.
Yeah. They want nicer cushions and better chairs in the garage.
And warmer.
Warmer, they're cold. Look at it. But they're all in the belief they're not a body. Look at them. Yeah, they're all freaking cold.
Oh, Paul, you better pass the
I'm
basket.
clear there's not a body. I'm wearing shorts.
Fake it, you know.
Yeah.
Paul, you better pass the basket so you can get him some new cushions.
I'll get it. Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me that, Kathleen. They're all hoping. You know, I forget every week. Good, thank you. You've made some enemies right now, Kathleen.
Oh, no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
That wasn't you. All right. Well, let's say goodbye then.
Hope the check's in the mail then.
Kathleen, always a pleasure, Kathleen. We got Jamie and Barbara, Mike Clark, Axel, Brian. Good sticking with us, Brian. Very good. Yes. Jess. Oh, Jess L. Jess L is here. Jess is here from Ireland.
Hi, Jess.
I don't know if they can hear you.
Hello.
Hello, Jess. Yes.
Irish last.
We've got Gilame, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
perfect.
Fantastic. Hey, send me what kind of shampoo you use.
Sure to check that.
So I put my hand like in an electric socket, my finger.
Good
I think
work.
I got the hair. I just need to get it shocked into
High vibrations.
very high vibration. Yes. Lawrence H. Nice to see you, Lawrence. Maro, always a pleasure. Anja. Nice to meet you, Anja. I've met you before?
I think
No?
once.
Once. Oh, nice to
Maybe.
meet you.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Netherlands.
Oh, the Netherlands. Ah, nice. Very nice. John in Florida. He's from the Everglades. Yeah. Anu. Always a pleasure. Everyone says hello to Anu. Yeah, there they are. Let's see. We've got Lori, Arturs, Zoe in Japan, Mike Chi, San Clemente, Mike M, Los Angeles area, David Bitterman with his lovely, nice to see you both, Mary Champagne, Vlad in Portugal, Keith, nice to see you, Keith. Pleasure having you here the other time. Let me go to the other page. We've got Steve Cole in San Diego. Let's see. Johannes. Thank you, Johannes. Nice to see you again. Axel, another German guy. Mike Clark, I got him. Gary C. from Placerville. Nice to see Gary. Chris H. Getting revved up for his job as Santa Claus. Yeah.
Hey, Paul,
Yeah.
I might come to regret this, but I feel the impulse to ask a quick question. I got one of them heads that, you know, that will do anything to make itself wrong. I was wondering if you could address that in some kind of way.
Well, it's not you, so
It's just-
you can be right about that. Yeah, you can be right about that. That it always makes everything
Poignant.
wrong. Yeah. This is how, in one
Dig it.
way, you get disillusioned and it leads to a loss of interest. And that interest isn't lost. It just goes to other places and it may end up enriching you. So the more knowledge that the head provides about itself that you can accept as not being you is going to go a long way. Yeah. So now you know the head always wants to be wrong. So now you're going to be right about that. Yeah. Yeah. It's not
I
you.
like it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Cool, man.
I think that's it. If I missed,
Excuse me, I think we might want to mention our clocks are changing for the people here that it matters to. I'm not sure.
what's
I don't
changed?
even know. Is it fallback?
We're gonna fall back.
The time tonight might be different.
No, it's tonight.
Tonight, we do it.
Oh, where are we going?
The clock changes for people who daylight savings time fallback.
We think we can understand these metaphysical things, and then you just threw it up. What out back out what back
Yeah.
what?
Funny thing is, they want to the people who are deciding what we should be on. They want to end daylight savings time, but the two sides can't decide which time should be the right time, and that's been going on for years.
Well, I just thought it matters to some
Well,
people.
no, I just know no matter what we say, some people are going to come at the end of the meeting and stuff like that. So
It might
what
matter
are we
to
doing?
others.
Are we going back? Oh, we're going forward. So
No, we fall back. No, we fall back.
Well, fallback means what? The
California
clock
Fall
goes
back an hour.
Clock
Oh,
is
we're
back.
going forward. The rest of America is going back. We're going forward. We're leaving your asses. At
So
least
nothing's
in time.
changed.
We're cutting all connection in time with you.
You guys are becoming like Texas then.
We'll be on Zen bitch slap time.
Never be like Texas. Never.
Yeah.
Never.
They got the space, you got the time.
No, we got everything. We got everything. Water, ocean.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna come, man.
Yes.
We gain an hour of sleep.
Figure it out.
We
All right.
gain sleep.
But whatever 10:30 is in Pacific time will be the 10:30 it's going to start on
All
Monday,
right.
on Tuesday.
That worked.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So whatever it is. So compared to you, just it's going to be the 10:30 here.
And whenever it is, it'll be now. Thank you, sir.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. See you. It's a pleasure. See you.
That's been
Thanks,
awesome.
Larry.
Thank
All
you.
right, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, dude. Thank you, Kathleen.